But you know, overall good gameplay. I think it's just some of these more, I don't know what you call it, macro stuff, I guess. Like with you know, being aware of when we're staggered and being aware of ultimates, at least to some extent. And then, yeah, like this situation of like saving our abilities for the 1v1. Or taking a calculated risk, right? So yeah, this is happening again. So that's one of the most annoying things about Magic, is this thing is like so much damage. Alright, but we can take a look at this. So we're expecting the Magic to come, basically, right? So we can already tell we're getting attacked by Magic. So I think it already makes sense to play like you are right now and just be ready to go into the portal, or the spawn. So like right here, if we're healing this guy anyway, we can just dip into the spawn. Alright, so we kind of put ourselves over here, but we already saw that we were getting attacked by the Magic. And then I'm pretty smart to play to put that shit up in the air. Jesus, I don't know why that happened. Okay, so in general she came from above, and so she just puts it like that. So even if you didn't jump up in the air, it's meant to hit this whole area. Yeah. So yeah. So I think Magic is just a bit too dangerous. That, like I said, if we're gonna heal these guys anyway, we can just dip in here, and we have to let the start of the game develop anyway. So you know what I'm saying? Because basically they're like in general at a disadvantage trying to do this. Yep. Then we can expect that. Yeah, the Magic's right there. We can see her. Pushed her away, and then she's in the middle of the team, about dead, but didn't really work out. So now we're at the second, like, because we're only at half health, right? So when we see this guy jumping towards us, it's like we don't really have any tools to not die. We can't kill him fast enough. The jump away is not going to be enough, and we just used our push away. So we have to go back to the spawn door. Well, the jump away worked, yeah. So that's both of us. Then we just immediately get back out. Nice hit. Now we have to avoid her. See what's happening there. Didn't expect the the Angela. That's fine. People survived. It looks good. Almost got her, but didn't. Shadek's fine. And we're getting hit by some shit. So again, we're a little struggling on the heals here. Nice to just get out. Yeah, because I think we're playing with no health too often. I think this is going to get punished in a lot of games. It's true that other players might die and stuff when we stop healing, but like we just got to get back to full health. Nice. That's another thing I was going to mention before. I don't know if this is like a good tip or a bad tip, but like basically players also adapt to the game, right? So like in that last game, when we had the guy playing, what's it called, the thing, and he kept just going way too far, you know what I mean? So basically, if he just gets totally no heals, boom, he's dead instantly, then, you know, his human self can potentially adapt and be like, oh, when I do that, I just die. But if it's like, when I do that, I'm getting healed a whole bunch, and it feels like the game is happening around me, then he's kind of like, he's not getting a direct message of like, I'm going too far forward. He maybe just doesn't realize it, since it's kind of working, you know, air quotes, working. So that's another example of like something that can actually be good, even though it's I can't really advise to just like purposely not heal somebody, but it can be a really good lesson. So that's part of the game as well. But yeah, I mean, obviously we want to be saving people most of the time rather than letting them die on purpose, so that way they hopefully can adapt within the game. But anyway, it's still like something to mention. If we ever do like not save somebody, or like, you know, and they just die right away or something like that, that can potentially be a good thing in disguise. Nice to follow this up, because he's just gonna die without heals. But now it's over. But we're kind of stuck between this big ass thing. But we got the other healer here as well, so we just need to go. Nice, and then but the fight's happening down here, so we should start to push out. Nice, they came right back around. Looks good. We don't want to push too far, but yeah. Alright, now we got this guy. Nice, nice. Nice. Alright, we can... Nice. I think we got a bit lost there. I think we were trying to heal him up, but like once we have the shield up, he can use the shield as well. And we can start to just move forward and get back in the game. So I think when we are focusing enemies, because it does take a lot of like focus, right? To make sure we get the shots on him. I think we're getting a little lost from the rest of the game. So that's just something to work on. Were you the person? Oh, I think so. I think your thread has a bunch of new stuff. Let me pull it up real quick. Okay. I think this is it, right? Everything's back working. Okay. I remember, yeah, you made like some new comments or something. Yeah, the stats is always different. The stats are like game dependent and map dependent and situation dependent and all that kind of stuff. Like stats can't. I mean, if we have consistently bad stats, you know, definitely. But anyway, that's just a little spiel about that. Okay. Yeah, I think you have the definitely the right instinct there. That's how the game is. Yeah, so it's not like we can always win, but we can always just kind of learn something, and over time we get better and better. That's good. That's good. Where was I? Like this one right here. Right. Okay. Sire. Yeah, I don't think it's atrocious, but I think we are seeing some of that of like, and that's like a normal human thing. So it's like everybody has to get better at that, right? Like if you think about like chess, I don't know that much about chess, but like thinking about like the whole game and everything that's happening, it's easy to think like only about one play or one instance of something happening in the game, and you'll miss something else in the game, right? So it's a common human thing. Yeah, it's just something. How do we consciously work on it though? That's a good question. So I think, you know, it's basically any situation like this where I'm having to put effort into healing him directly when it's not easy to heal him, right? He's not just sitting on the ground. Then it's like, and then I'm pulling my mentality back to the whole game that's happening. Every time. Like this sort of triggers me to think about this basically, right? That's one example of like, since I'm getting distracted, like I have to hit him, right? So I have to focus on it. So it takes my focus away from everything else. And then that action itself is like, oh yeah, that means I need to pay attention to the rest of the game. I don't know. That's one example. So another thing that we haven't talked about is like, when I started watching pros, they always do stuff like this. Like they would pull the shield back, like unless you want the shield there, but they always like pull their stuff back so that way they charge up. So I think that's something we can, once we get that habit, that's like, it's like such a good habit to have. I've not been paying attention to that. Nice, we went after him, but now we're getting surrounded by this. So what are we gonna do? Use the ultimate, looks good. Nice to get back in there. But yeah, so we still don't have our shield available, right? This is our shield. But we want it available because it's also a crucial thing that allows us to engage in this 1v1 or whatever else we might need to do. So that's a good tip. Alright, you're trying to get him for a bit. That looks good. You know, you can really make a difference with stuff like that. But then we can already hear her stomping around for a while. So since we can already hear her stomping around, I mean, realistically, we want to get, I don't know the absolute best way to 1v1 it or whatever, but we need to be coming up with something, whether that's get back to our team or know what abilities we have and develop a plan for how we're going to engage, right? Because now it's too late. Yeah, that's a really good point. So like, it's just like, this is the game. That's another thing to like stay focused on. Like, we have a new guy, so it's good to go after him and stuff. But again, with the tunnel vision though, it's really weird. It is hard to do because like if I want to do something on him, I can't really retain my focus here because I have to keep my focus on everything else at the same time. It's kind of different when you're a DPS. Like you can actually just specifically focus an enemy. Like you want to keep your awareness on everything too, but like, you know, you're sort of directly engaging, but we can't really do that as the healer all the time. But anyway, let's go back to it. The fact that we we know that there's a magic in the game, and we know that the magic is trying to kill us. So that's basically just like a part of the entire game at all times. So we've already caught a glimpse of her, but maybe we didn't see her. Yeah, and by that time we can 100% hear her. So if I heard her steps in that moment just before I got hit, then I might just use my jump and get over here, right? To sort of make her first initial attack not work. But yeah, we need to already be thinking about this 1v1, that it will happen. Even if this whole fight goes down and it doesn't happen, we still wanted to have had the mindset of like, it will happen. So I need to know what abilities I currently have. That way I can engage, right? So again, it's like we might lose our focus on that, right? It's not like we 100% know the focus, but it's like the more we sort of convince ourselves that we're supposed to do these things, that like it makes it easier for the brain to like adapt to it, right? Oh, I'm supposed to hear the footsteps. I'm supposed to have seen it in my peripheral. I'm supposed to have already been expecting it because it's in our subconscious, right? It happens immediately. We can't think about it and be like, what are all the things I need to think about? Oh yeah, there's this and there's this and there's this. It's literally our first reaction, pre-conscious, right? So I think that's why we have to sort of hijack our system to be like, I should, however we want to say it to ourselves or whatever, you know, but just in general that like, you know, rather like not beating ourselves up afterwards, like, oh, I needed to know that I had those abilities or whatever. But instead it's like, it's just like we feel it inside of ourselves, you know, inside of our brain. Like the awareness of the abilities is just something that we have to have pre-conscious, right? So developing that takes time and stuff like that. And it's not like, you know, how do you practice it, right? Like, I don't know. But it's just like something that gets developed. I don't know. I wish I could explain that more more clearly. And it's something that like I myself am, like me as this human, I'm trying to get better at that stuff just throughout all things, right? And I have experienced it like in this game, for example. You know, obviously you've developed a ton of stuff, so it's the same kind of thing, right? So we just keep developing and like curious about how to, like for me personally, you know, I was curious about like how to be a pro, and I thought I could, you know, I kind of gave up on it, but like yeah, like a lot of things develop like without even trying. And then I did focus on like certain things to develop those things. And then I got progress in those. And then it's like, now, yeah, we're in more of this territory now where it's like your fundamental awareness about a bunch of stuff that goes into decision making. That's like, it's hard to like put it all into words. It's not as simple as like, this person is attacking me, so I'm using these things to deal with them directly. It's like your brain is sort of calculating with a lot of factors in mind, doing stuff like that. Maybe, you know, maybe that's not how everything is. Maybe it is simpler than that. I don't know. So just sort of rambling about that for a little bit. But yeah, I think realistically we just needed to hear the steps for one thing, and have a reaction, and then the second thing is just, but I don't think we're really planning for the 1v1. So that's a clear something to improve there. But as far as everything else that happened during this team fight, I wasn't even paying attention. So that's like where my awareness could have just picked that up, but it didn't, right? I have to like actually, I have to like tell myself to think about it directly.